What if I told you there's a biotech stock right now that some investors believe could completely change cancer treatment forever, while others think it's one of the most dangerous hype stocks in the entire market? A company surrounded by excitement, controversy, FDA drama, huge promises, and massive risk. We are talking about ImmunityBio, ticker symbol IBRX. And the strange part is, even after all the volatility, people still cannot stop talking about this stock. Some investors think this could become one of the biggest comeback stories in biotech. Others believe it could destroy shareholder money before it ever reaches profitability. So, what is really happening here, and why are so many people suddenly watching IBRX again? Stay with me till the end because the final part completely changes the way most people look at this company. You see, biotech investing is completely different from normal investing. This is not like investing in social media apps or e-commerce companies or phone manufacturers. Biotech is emotional because these companies are trying to solve real human problems: cancer, disease, survival. And when a biotech company succeeds, the upside can become enormous. But when they fail, stocks can collapse brutally. That is exactly why ImmunityBio is becoming one of the most talked about biotech stocks right now. Because this company sits directly between hope and uncertainty. ImmunityBio focuses mainly on cancer treatment and immunotherapy, and this is where things start becoming very interesting. Traditional cancer treatment usually attacks cancer directly, but ImmunityBio is trying something different. The company wants to help the body's own immune system fight cancer more effectively, and many experts believe immunotherapy could become one of the biggest medical trends of the future. That alone is enough to attract investor attraction. But then comes a product everyone keeps talking about: ANKTIVA. This treatment became one of the biggest reasons investors suddenly started paying attention to IBRX again. Because if ANKTIVA succeeds commercially, the future of this company could look completely different, and that single possibility is what keeps investors interested. But here's the important part: biotech stocks don't move on dreams alone, they move on approvals, results, data, cash flow, and survivals. And that's where the story becomes complicated. Because yes, there are reasons to be excited about ImmunityBio, but there are also reasons to be extremely careful. First, let's understand why bullish investors are excited. The global cancer treatment market is worth billions of dollars. Even capturing a small piece of this industry can completely transform a company financially. That's why biotech investors are always searching for companies with breakthrough treatment potential. And when regulatory progress starting happening around ANKTIVA, many investors felt this company finally had real momentum. Suddenly, people started asking, what if ImmunityBio is early? What if Wall Street is underestimating this company? What if this becomes one of those stocks everyone regrets ignoring? And honestly, that type of thinking is powerful in the stock market, especially in biotech, because investors are not only buying numbers, they are buying future possibilities. Then there's another factor: retail investors love comeback stories. Stocks that crashed heavily, survived, and still have a chance to recover always attract attraction online, and IBRX fits that category perfectly. But now comes the side many people ignore: risk. Because this company is still under pressure financially. Biotech research is expensive, very expensive. Developing treatments, running trials, dealing with regulations, all of this burns enormous amounts of money. And that creates a dangerous situation for smaller biotech companies. If growth slows or commercial success takes longer than expected, investors can lose patience very quickly. And in the stock market, once confidence disappears, stocks can fall brutally. That's why some investors still avoid IBRX completely. They believe the company still has too much uncertainty, too much dependence on future success, too much reliance on expectations instead of stable profits. And honestly, that concern is valid too, because the market has seen many biotech companies rise on excitement only to collapse later when reality becomes harder than expected. Now, here's where things become even more interesting. The CEO behind ImmunityBio is Patrick Soon-Shiong, and this is not some unknown businessman. This is a billionaire doctor, scientist, entrepreneur, and one of the most controversial figures connected to biotech investing. Some people admire him deeply, others remain skeptical, but almost everyone agrees on one thing: he thinks very big, and that matters because leadership psychology can influence investors' confidence massively, especially in high-risk sectors like biotech. Now think about this carefully. What happens if ANKTIVA adoption grows faster than expected? What happens if hospitals, doctors, and patients begin using these treatments more aggressively? What happens if the company finally proves long-term commercial success? Suddenly, this entire conversation changes, and that possibility is exactly why some investors remain extremely bullish on IBRX. But there's another side to this story that many retail investors forget. The stock market does not reward potential forever. At some point, companies must prove they can survive financially. This is where hype becomes dangerous, because sometimes investors become emotionally attached to a story. They stop thinking logically, they stop analyzing risk, and they begin treating hope like certainty. That is one of the biggest mistakes in investing, especially in biotech. Now, here's the twist most people miss. The biggest gains in the stock market usually happen before the crowd fully understands the story. But the biggest losses also happen when people blindly chase hype without understanding the risk. And IBRX right now sits exactly between those two realities. So the real question is not, will this stock go up tomorrow? The real question is, do you truly understand the difference between opportunity and excitement? Because in investing, those two things are not always the same, and that difference changes everything. If you enjoyed this type of deep stock breakdown, then follow for the next video, because some of the most interesting opportunities in the market are often ones people misunderstand the most.